Hey everyone, let me just pin this comment. Hi Doodle. Hi Wake and Bates. Bullet Christian. Hey Marwan. Good morning, good afternoon. Hi Satna. Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome back to the live. Okay, so today I'm gonna go over like some of the, I guess, because I see a lot of stories people tell, and I read a lot of stories, and I just want to talk about some of the common mistakes that I see people make, or I'll just talk about it in from the perspective of like the kind of mistakes that I was making. So if you have a question for me, go ahead and put it in that little question sticker right here, because like I can't always like keep up with the chat because I'm not really good at multitasking. So hi Alba, hi Jonathan, hi Izak Kim, hello Hari. Okay, so let's start. And I think a lot of these things that I talked about before, and they're kind of related. Hi Shayel, what's up Reggie? Thank you. Oh, Dry, thank you so much. Hi Zara. Yeah, so if you have any questions for me to start off, like just put it in the okay, if it's like non-storytelling related questions, I can also answer them. Tourism story idea. Okay, try to be as specific as possible in your questions, because I think those are going to be usually the best questions for me to answer. How to get clients if you're struggling with it and have not much reviews. Okay, so I mean, I guess for me, the way I started is when I first started, I didn't have okay, let me answer in a couple different parts. One, when I started, I didn't have clients obviously, but I had a portfolio, because what I did was I love making websites so much, I love design so much, that I started doing design stuff and making websites for my friends first. So, and I didn't just make any like boring ass websites. I made like some amazing kick ass websites with like a lot of animations and shit like that for my friends, because I actually loved doing design. So I just wanted to do something like top notch, right? So because I did like 3 or 4 projects like this, like made 3 or 4 websites like this for my friends, I just put that in my portfolio and I just sent it out, right? And that's kind of how that portfolio is what I use to get clients. Now, so it's 2 parts. One, in the beginning, you're gonna need a period where you build in some portfolio, or you build in some case studies, or you have some, people that you've tested out. Like, you don't just like, if you're a copywriter, you have to do some work for somebody first. Nobody's gonna hire you if you've never actually done anything before, right? So you need that practice. So think of like your first few clients as a practice. So maybe do it for free, do it at a discount, do it maybe in exchange for a testimonial or referral or something like that, and just get those out of the way. So don't expect to like get first paying clients right off the gate, right? So the first few projects, you're gonna just think of it as you're building your portfolio and just go over and beyond. Now, once you have that, you should have some reviews, you should have some testimonials, you should have some portfolio, right? Once you have those, then you still have to sell. Like it's so crazy for me. Like when somebody comes to me and says, "Son, how do I get freelancing gigs? Well, how do I get some job? How do I get a job? How do I like?" There's so many people that come to me and ask me every week, like, "How do I get like?" And sometimes it's like the same person, right? And I gave them the basic things that they should be doing, but when I see it, they're not doing it. Okay. When I first started and I was desperate, I was desperate for clients. I was desperate to get jobs. Like the first job I had, I sent out 50 resumes a day. So I had a friend who just moved to New York, and he was having trouble finding jobs, and like after like a couple months, I'm like, why don't you have a job yet, right? And I saw what he was doing, and he was sending out like 1 or 2 resumes a day. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? You're never gonna get a job that way. I was sending out 50 resumes a day. Okay, if you send out 50 resumes a day for like that's 35, that's 350 resumes a week, right? In 30 days, like let's say in a month, what's that? That's 1,500 resumes. You're literally sending to 1,500 companies a month. In 3 months, that's 4,500 companies. So if you think you send out 4,500 resumes over a period of 3 months, you don't think you're going to get a job? You're definitely going to get a job, right? And it's the same thing with sales, same thing with clients. Like, like when I first had my sales job, right? I was so gung ho. Like literally every person that walked in that door, I would just walk up to them. I would try to like talk to them and things like that. And the same thing, like if you're reaching out to people, like literally, like reach out to 50 people a day, right? If you don't have projects, you don't have clients anyway, you have all the time in the world. So you should be able to do that. So just reach out to all these people and talk to them. Like the more action that you take, the more sales you're gonna get. So yeah, I guess like I don't know if it's like if that answers your question, but I don't know why I see so many people not doing that. Like I see so many people like where I say, hey, this is what I want you to do. I want you to go on LinkedIn. I want you to go search, and I want you to go. Or here's a good one. Go on Google and look for companies like I'm in we make websites, so I'll search for something. I'll search for, let's say I want to get clients in the you know in the media industry or like tech startups, and I'll search for some software, and I'll look at all the people that are running ads, because if they're running ads, then that means I know that at least they have the budget. They have some sort of a budget to put into marketing, right? They're spending money on marketing, right? Because there's no point for me to go out to reach out to companies that spend $0 on marketing, because they're not going to pay for my service. So if they're running ads, at least I know that they're doing that. So I would just go through all the ads, and I would just find the contact information and just send an email to every single one of them, right? So I tell people to do that. Hey, can you do that? And then a month later, that person will come back and be like, "Son, how do I get more clients? It's hard, it's tough." And I'm like, "How many emails have you sent out?" And they're like, "Oh, just just a few, maybe like 20 or 30." I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" Like I said, you should be sending out like over 1,000 emails a month if you're looking for clients. Okay, like this is one thing that I think a lot of like the younger generation just don't seem to get, right? When I grew up, like I grew up half my life without the internet. Okay. So I still grew up, like my first job in high school was to go knock on doors, like door to door, and sell magazines, right? So that's what actually people used to do. They will go knock on door, talk to that person, and try to sell magazine or try to sell whatever, right? And now that everybody can just DM and just email, or just do something quickly, easily like that, they don't even want to do that, right? Just compared to how easy you guys have it. And the thing that I don't understand is, I've never met an entrepreneur who like started a self-made entrepreneur who started from scratch and built their own business. I've never met an entrepreneur who took it easy and built a business, like who worked like 6-hour day, 7 hours a day. I've never met anyone like that. Like the other day I was talking to somebody, and this guy was playing games 3 hours a day. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like if you're an entrepreneur starting your business in your first year, you should not be on YouTube watching videos. You should not be playing any video games. You shouldn't be watching TVs. You shouldn't be going and fucking like partying all the time. Like, you literally need to like cut all of that shit out and put 100% of your focus on building your business. And even if you do that, there's still a huge chance you're gonna fail. So if you think that you're gonna take it easy and live your life and build a business, like let that shit go. That's just not gonna happen. I think you're not you have to be able to gauge what hard work really means. I have a feeling that a lot of people think that, oh, they're working at this level and they think I'm working so hard. That's hard work. But the reality is you have to be working. Other people are working at this level, right? So you need to kind of recalibrate what hard work really means to you, because otherwise you're just not going to get there. Okay. Freelancer Majid, I am strict for time management. Until now, I was struggling to get clients, but now I can't manage. Okay. Yeah, then why don't you? That's a simple question, right? So, the thing is, a lot. I have a lot of people that come to me and say, "Oh, son, like, oh, I don't have problem getting clients. I have a problem. I don't have problem get like." But they ask me all these questions. How do I do this? How do I, how can I like make more money or whatever it is? Like, I thought you don't have problem getting clients, right? You can never be so sure of yourself. You're like, oh, I'm fine. I'm getting clients now. I'm fine. Like, don't think of it like that. Here's the thing. If you're getting like, if three people want to work with you and you're working with all three of them, that means you're having problem getting clients, right? The way it should work is 10 people should want to work with you and you reject 7 of them and you only work with 3 of them. So that's how you always want it to work. Like, if you're accepting every new client that comes to the door, like, obviously in the beginning you have to chase every client, right? And then once you get every client that you get, you have to take it. But at a certain point of business, what needs to happen is you have to be turning away clients. If you're not turning away clients, that means you're not in a good place yet, right? Because if you have 3 potential clients and you have to take all 3 potential clients, then you don't have like a negotiating power, right? Because you have to be able to raise those prices. Like, if you're charging $10,000, you have to be able to charge $20,000. And the way you're going to charge $20,000 is if you're rejecting 7 clients. Do you understand what I mean? So right now, a lot of times when somebody says, "Oh, I'm so busy, I'm so busy, I'm so busy," oh, like, I'm so overwhelmed, I have too much clients, and I just feel like I'm spread so thin. What that really actually means that you should actually work on sales. Like, you're like, what? So what are you talking about? I just told you I have no time. Like, what? Why should I get more sales? Why do I need more clients? It's because what's happening is, let's say you have 5 clients and you're spread so thin. We're like working on those 5 clients, right? And let's say each one of those clients are paying you, let's say $1,000. Look, I'll give you a kind of a example case scenario. Let's say you have 5 clients, and each one of those clients are paying you $1,000 each. So therefore, you're making $5,000, right? If that's the case, you're making $5,000 and you're spread so thin because you don't have time to work on 5 clients. What needs to happen is you need to charge $2,000 per client and work on 3 clients and make $6,000. Do you understand what I mean? So you actually have less clients. So instead of working on 5 clients, you're working on 3 clients. But because you doubled your price, you're actually making more money. Then you'll have more free time. Do you know what I mean? And now that you have more free time, what you do is you work on sales and getting more sales, right? And then you charge $3,000 rather than $2,000 and work on only 2 clients. And now you have even more free time. And this is how it works. So when you say I'm struggling with time management, blah, 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 what that really means is you're not charging high enough. The reason why you have so much work is because you're taking on too much work, right? And the reason why you're taking on too much work is because your prices are not high enough. And the reason why your price is not high enough is because you don't have enough clients that you're rejecting away. So that's why I said, in order to fix that time management problem, what you actually need is you need more clients. Like, right now, the reason why I'm able to charge $60,000 to $100,000 per website is because every day I'm rejecting clients. I'm rejecting clients all the time, right? When you're at a place where you're rejecting clients, you can set those prices, and there will be enough people out there that somebody will pay for it. And once you get to that point, then you don't have to worry about like not having enough time. I hope that makes sense. How to improve my personal brand on social media and show my work to get clients. BSAM designer. I don't know. Like, I don't know what that question means, because how to improve my personal brand on social media, that's like a very broad question. And show my work to get clients. Like, show your work. If you want to get clients, show your work. Here's what I'll say though. If you're a designer, right? If you're a designer, if you're a brand strategist, if you're a copywriter, if you're like trying to get clients, you're a freelancer trying to get clients, the last place you're going to find clients is on social media. I mean, I built my entire agency without doing any social media. Do you understand what I mean? Because just think about it, right? Let's say you're trying to get clients in the software industry. Like, what you want is you want to work with these tech startups who are like, venture-backed tech startups, software as a service business, and you want to do design work for them. Do you think the CEO or the CMO or the decision maker of that company is on Instagram following designers? Do you think those people are on Instagram following marketers? No. If they're on Instagram, they're either probably just following their friends, or maybe following other people in the tech industry, right? Like following people. Like, let's say you're trying to target, let's say pharmaceutical companies or people in the medical industry. Do you think people the decision makers of companies in medical industry are following marketers and designers? No, they're not, right? Let's say you're a lawyer and you're looking for clients. Do you think those clients, and let's say you're in the food industry and you're trying to get clients in the food industry, do you think decision makers in the food industry are following lawyers? No, they're not, right? You're never going to get clients through social media, like if you're in some sort of a service business like that. So what you need to do is, if you want to grow, like I have somebody in my mentorship program where I told her the same thing. Like, don't waste your time on social media if that's your business. If you're a freelancer, if you're a designer, if you're a marketer, if you're a brand strategist, if you're a copywriter, even lawyers, accountants, whatever it is, don't waste your time on social media. Like, yeah, if you want to use social media to build your authority and build your credibility and become a thought leader in that space, yes, that's fine. But don't expect to get clients from social media, because those clients, those decision makers, are not following people like you on social media. So to build a freelancing business or agency business, what you really need is you need relationship. You need to go out and build real relationships. So and a lot of people don't seem to get this. It's like, so many designers are like, once they get the work, they kind of fucking half-ass it and they treat their clients like shit, and they fucking, like, they don't care, right? Like, they're so bad at wrapping up the project and just delivering like pure joy to that client. So therefore, their clients don't refer them to any other people. But every time I talk to any successful freelancer, if I talk to somebody who's like doing crazy well, making a shitload of money as a freelancer, or if I talk to agency owners that are making shitload of money and they're doing well, not a single one of them tells me that, oh, I get my clients through social media, or we have an outbound team who goes out and gets sales. No, every single one of them gets their sales through referrals. Like 80 to 90% of their sale, all of their projects comes in through referrals. So if you're a service business like agency or freelancer and you're not getting referrals, that means you need to take a hard look, and like, you need to look into your soul and ask yourself this question: am I fucking doing a good job or not? Because if you're not getting referrals, if you've been in business for a year or two and you're not getting any referrals, that means you're doing something wrong. That means your clients are not happy with you. And there's no way you're going to grow a service business like that. It's not just, you know, business is not just about selling. Like, people seem to think that, like, when I look at these course creators, these coaches, this like freelancers and all these like solopreneurs, like these new entrepreneurs these days, everybody seems to think that business is all about marketing and selling and increasing conversion and raising awareness, building a brand. Like they think that that's what business is. No, that's just your shell. Building a business is coming up with a good product and good solution and delivering that result to your customers every single time in a way that they'll come back or they'll refer you to other people who comes back. You know, the market is all voluntary, right? Nobody's like, you can't force anybody to buy your shit. Okay, like people are gonna buy your shit, and if they don't like it, they're not gonna come back. Or they're gonna buy your shit, and if they love it, they're gonna come back, or they're gonna refer other people. And that's what a free market is. Nobody's forced to do anything. Okay, so if that is the case, the only way you can grow your business is actually by delivering value. There's no fucking way that even if you have the best marketers in the world, if your product sucks, if your service sucks, you're ever gonna grow your business. It's actually gonna go the opposite way. People are gonna realize how shitty your product is, and you're gonna like your reputation is gonna tank, and nobody's gonna ever buy from you. Okay. Amy, how do you kill your darlings? Okay. So here, that is one of the most common mistakes that I see. So I think the reason why this happens is people start telling a story, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, but that's also related to, oh yeah, so I learned that overthink like I have this perfectionism which leads to overthinking, and that we shouldn't really overthink, and then they lead to this other lesson, and like people tend to just go on, and they don't know how to end the story, right? So what needs to happen is, before you even write the story, or before you finalize your story, obviously when you write, you just have to write it all out to see what you're trying to say is. You need to be, in every piece of, like, I tell this to my video editors all the time. Every story you tell, every video you edit, every caption you write, you need to be hyper specific on exactly what the lesson of this is. One lesson. Not like, oh, here are the 3 different lessons, right? Not like that. If you have multiple lessons in there, like, oh, it's because you have to do this, but you also have to do this, and also you have to do this. Like, that means those are 3 different pieces of content. Okay, so you need to separate that. So if to really know what the lesson is, you need to focus on one. And even if you want to say all this other stuff, you have to cut it all out, right? Because usually what happens is, when you tell a story, a lot of stories have multiple lessons. Like the other day, I was reading a story. I'm trying to remember. The other day, I was reading a story where someone was saying, she was saying how, like, this was like from our, well, I'm not going to go too much into specific because it's not my story. But basically, this person was talking about how they thought one thing, they thought they're going to be able to do something. But then when they actually tried it, it didn't work out. And it was like, it was kind of bad. Okay. I know that's kind of vague, but you're going to have to work with me here. So when I read the story, to me, what I learned is that, number one, that, when we're young, even though we don't know if we can do it or not, a lot of times we just jump in and we take risks and, things like that, right? And another lesson is that how, another lesson is how, okay, sometimes, like, we actually need to be kind of dumb, and we kind of, it's better not to know, and just to jump in and take a risk or something like that, right? But there was like multiple related lessons that I saw in that story. And what I want to do is, I want to talk about all of them. The reason why I want to talk about all of them is, is because I hate reading comments like this. Like I'll talk about something simple and somebody comments there like, oh, it's also because of this. Oh, it's also related to this. Oh, it's because of this. Like, like, okay, here's a perfect example. A few days ago, I posted a content that said, introverts have huge egos, because introverts, like what I said was, when somebody is like shy and they don't want to speak up and then things like that, it's because they're overthinking in their head, like and they're just constantly thinking and they don't want to just say anything stupid or something like that, right? And that all comes from ego, because it's your idea of how other people are going to judge you, how other people are going to perceive you, and that's why introverts have huge ego. Like, obviously it's not as simple as that. Obviously there's much more to that. Yes, I understand that just because you're shy doesn't mean you're an introvert. Yes, I know that introvert and extroversion has nothing to do with being shy or outgoing. It has to do with your sensory and how sensitive you are to sound and things that are around you. Yes, I know that. Yes, I know that. Just because you're shy, it doesn't mean that it's because of your ego. Maybe sometimes you care about this person. You don't want to hurt this other person's feeling. I know all of that. Yes. Everything in life is complex like that. There's nuances to everything. But the thing is, the reason why I purposely cut all that shit out and only focused on this one thing is because if you don't do that, you're losing the customer. Oh, by the way, oh yeah, like shy people have, sometimes it might be because of ego and and ego gets in the way, but that doesn't mean that shy people are automatically introverts. Introvert and extroversion actually has to do with this. And like, I can just go into and give a whole fucking hour-long lecture about this whole topic, but then I would have lost everyone. Right? That's why, like, on social media, I need to be specific on one thing and just talk about that. And then when I posted that, I already knew that some people are going to get triggered and they're going to come back and they'll be like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, blah, blah, blah. Like all of that shit, like, oh, just because you're shy doesn't mean you're an introvert, blah, blah, blah. I already knew they were going to say that. Like, I don't give a shit, right? One of the reasons why we can't kill our darlings is because we think we're so afraid that people are going to think that we don't know this other stuff. Like, oh, Son is stupid. He doesn't know that just because you're shy doesn't just mean introverts, right? Like, he doesn't know that. Oh, Son doesn't know that. Like, so we're so concerned with showing off our knowledge that, oh yeah, I also know that, I know this and I know this and I know this, I know this. We're so concerned with that ego part of us stops us from cutting out all those darlings. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that happens to me all the time. And I get, like, when I see those comments, yes, I do get triggered, but now I'm just like, I laugh it off, because like, it's almost like these people, like, try this. If you're afraid of people judging your content, be like, actually, like, when especially on Twitter, right? When people are like, oh, actually you're wrong about that, or actually you don't know what you're talking about. Actually, like, he's an idiot, blah, 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 right? Whenever you're worried about like those kind of comments that are going to trigger you, try this exercise. Try to put out a piece of content that you know for a fact is going to trigger someone, that you know for a fact that somebody's going to get pissed off, right? You know for a fact that somebody's going to judge you and say that you don't know what you're talking about, right? Because I actually do that on purpose on Twitter. And I do that on purpose on Twitter is because whenever I do that and I piss some people off, they start going crazy on the comments. They're like, oh, this guy's an idiot. Like, he doesn't know what he's talking about, blah, blah, blah. Actually, and then they try to correct you. They're like, to be honest, blah, 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 blah. Like, no offense, but, actually, it's much more deeper than that. Like, they start giving me lectures on the comments, right? And I welcome it. Because now I'm just going through the comments, be like, oh, look at these fucking suckers that are falling right into my trap. This is exactly what I wanted you to do. I wanted you to get triggered. I wanted you to come comment on my post. I wanted you to do all of that shit so that you can increase engagement for me, so that my post will get more views. Thank you for the free engagement. Okay, so don't, whenever you get those comments, don't get triggered by it. Don't let it bother you. Be like, oh, you know that what that person is saying is not true. You know that you did it on purpose. So you just let it go. You just brush it off. And once you get comfortable with those kind of judgments, I think it becomes much easier to kill your darlings. Another thing is this. This is also kind of related to that same. A mistake that I see people make is they tell this long ass stories because they want to include all these nuances to it. Instead of doing that, if you feel like you don't want to be misunderstood and you want everything out, I would suggest split up that story or split up that post into 2 or 3 different posts. So talk about that thing first, and the next day do another post that talks about the other side of that, right? And then the next day do another post that talks something about related. So instead of like trying to put all of your ideas into this one post, break it up into multiple posts so that you can get all the ideas out, but one idea at a time, right? Something like that. Oh, I think I answered that one. Okay, that's Amy. Okay, designs. Oh, I like that. Okay, if we don't have context, how can we get referrals even though our service is good? You know what, guys? I'll do another whole Instagram live around freelancing, getting sales, getting clients. I just want to try to like stay on topic, but to answer you quickly, if we don't have context, how can we get referrals even though our service is good? If you know your service is good, like here's the thing, you said even though our service is good, right? So how do you know your service is good, right? If you're here's the dilemma with that question. If your service is good, that means you already had clients, right? Like otherwise, how do you know your service is good? You had to have served clients in order to know that your service is good, right? And if your service was really good, your clients would know that your service was good, right? And if your clients know that your service is good, then they would refer you to other clients. So the fact that it's not happening, this is how free market works. If your clients are not coming back and asking for more stuff or referring other clients to you, that means they didn't like your service. That means your service wasn't good. Just put it this way, right? Let's say you go to a restaurant and this restaurant had terrible service. Their food wasn't that good. And then like you know, the waiter was kind of lazy and you have to like wait for everything. Like every time you call the waiter, like you have to wait so long, and like just everything about the service that you had in that restaurant was not good, right? Are you gonna go out of your way to go on Yelp and say, oh, this service that was bad, their service was slow, blah, blah, blah? Are you gonna go out of your way to go to the manager and you know, say that? No, you're not. What's gonna happen is you're just not gonna go back, and you're gonna tell everyone around you, say, hey, don't ever go to that place. That place sucks, right? So that restaurant owner has no idea that's just happened. That restaurant owner thinks that, oh, my restaurant is great, my service is great, everything is great. Meanwhile, all their customers are talking shit behind their back. Okay? And that's what happens. Most of you guys don't know how your clients really feel. Trust me, okay? Like I didn't know either. And you know, the thing is like when I kept getting clients after clients after clients, what I didn't realize is that I had this one client who was every event that she goes to, everywhere she goes, every networking party or whatever she goes to, she was just like raving about, oh, you know, I have the best web design company, and how she was like selling us, and I didn't even know any of that, right? Whether your customers are saying great things about you behind your back, or whether that they're talking shit about you behind the back, you have no idea. So you think that you might be doing great You think that you might be giving amazing service, but if you're not getting more customers and you're not getting referrals, that means you're not. That means you're just lying to yourself. That's why you need to constantly check in with your clients, and you need to constantly say, hey, is there something that you weren't happy with? Like, what can I do to make it better? You need to constantly build a relationship with that client. So I would argue with you that if you say your service is good, but you're not getting referrals, that means your service is not good. I'm sorry. That's just the truth. Most people don't go out of their way to refer people or to go back to the business or something like that. If their service wasn't good, they'll just ignore you. And that's probably what's happening. Okay. Ill Coach Zen. What storytelling to use if we are still finding our niche or have more job positions? This is, I think, what I would do. If just look at all the content that I'm putting out, right? My content is all over the place. I'm not talking about, yes, I understand that if I give some specific tip about storytelling or specific tip about marketing or branding or something like that, that those get the most views, right? The carousels that I make where I'm doing that usually gets the most views, right? And when most people are in that place, what they do is, okay, that's all they make. That's the only kind of content they make, because they think that they'll post something else. They'll post maybe something personal, or they'll tell a personal story. And what happens is those don't get any views. So they'll stop posting those, and they'll only post this niche specific thing, right? But what's happening is then what you're doing is they're not following you for you. They're only following you for that specific content, right? And that specific content, honestly, they can get somewhere else too, right? So the whole point is, the reason why you should be telling personal stories, even if it's not related to your work, even if it's not related to your niche, even if it doesn't get the views, is because you're trying to build a relationship with your audience. That's why I post these fucking videos. Like, sometimes when I post these Instagram Reel videos, I get like almost, and especially the ones where I'm telling some sort of personal stories, right? I get such low views. Like, I know that if I post a carousel, I'll get like 10, 20,000 views. But if I post the real storytelling with the reel or something like that, maybe I'll only get like 5,000 views. But I still post them anyway. And the reason why I do that is because I want people to see my face, hear my voice, and I want people to follow me for me, right? Because they want to follow me, not because of just some carousel that I designed, just because this carousel was dope. And like, yes, I want you to follow me for that too, but I also want you to follow me for me, right? This is what I don't get, right? I mean, like those niche pages, right? That just like all they do is they just post they post these like memes or these popular like viral videos over and over and over, right? And what ends up happening is those get views. But imagine that, let's say, and they got 1 million followers just by putting these like cute cat videos and these viral videos, right? And then imagine they try to sell a course or sell a coaching service or something like that. Do you think anybody's going to buy from that person? No, because the only reason why they were following them was because of those fucking cute cat videos. The only reason why they were following them was because of those viral videos. That was the only reason they were following them. They weren't following them because of them, because they respect that person, because they want to hear that person's opinion. None of that. Okay? So the reason why you have to put all of your thoughts and all of yourself out there is because you're actually trying to build a relationship with your audience. And those are the people that are going to actually buy from you. So what I would suggest is, okay, so this brings me to another point with another biggest mistake that people make. They try so hard to force, like, okay, here's what I'm selling and this is what I'm teaching. So I need to somehow take this story and then force it to fit with this message or this lesson. Oh, so when I was young, I did this and I made this mistake and I was such an imposter. So in order to help you with the imposter, I have this course that you can buy that that's going to help you work on your imposter syndrome. That sounds so fucking forced. That sounds so fucking fake that it just turns everyone off. So don't even bother trying to don't do that. Don't try to every post, every story you tell, don't try to relate it back to your business. Because as soon as you do that, people are gonna be like, what the fuck, right? Like, are you serious? It sounds like you just made this shit up just so that you can sell me this thing. It sounds so fake. So don't do that. Just tell the story, however personal story, with all the emotions that you went through and all the lessons that you learned, and just leave it at that. Just tell the story, and all you want is this person to be like, oh, I really like that story. Okay, I can relate to that person. And then you do it again and again and again. And enough times they hear your story and enough times they build a relationship. When you actually do sell, they're going to be like, I trust this person. I'm going to buy from them. But if every fucking story you tell, all you're doing is like, oh, I think this person is just trying to sell to me. Oh, they don't really care about me. They just want to sell. Oh, I'm not really like, oh, that story is bullshit. It's just like that. It was just a sales message. If everything sounds like you're just trying to sell to them, it's kind of like I saw this tweet from what's his name? Mark Cuban, where he was saying something like, he was trying to give his opinion on like the vaccine or something like that, but he started the sentence with like, oh, by the way, like I have this company that sells like, as somebody who operates this company who sells this at a discount price. Now like if you read the comments on there, everybody's like, oh yeah, way to plug your way to plug your product in there. Like nobody's taking him seriously, because as soon as you do that, I know that your only agenda is trying to fucking sell me. It's kind of like when you go into like a used car salesman, right? Like, I don't care about anything that person tells me. I don't care if that person asks me about what baseball team I like. I don't care if that person tells me like, oh, what's your favorite restaurant? I know that they genuinely don't fucking care. I know that the only reason why they're asking is because they just want my business. Like, I know the salespeople that are like, these salespeople, they try to build relationships. So they in their calendar, they put in like, okay, this day I'm going to reach out to these people and I'm going to send them a little personal message. Hey, it's been a while. It's been a long time. I just wanted to check in and see how you're doing, blah, blah, blah. And it's so fucking obvious. It's so fucking obvious that the only reason why they're doing that is they're trying to build this fake relationship with me so that they can sell me something. Do you understand what I mean? And every post, you're fucking telling a story. And that's why I have this course that's going to teach you how to do this. Then all of the work you've done to tell the story, all the fucking shit that you've done to build a relationship in the content, all goes out the window. It's like going on a date and you can tell if the person is genuinely interested in you or they have a second agenda. Like, people can smell that shit, okay? So that's why what I want you to do in content is just genuinely build relationships. Just genuinely build relationships. And then when you sell them something, they're going to be like, oh, I trust this person, so I'm going to buy from them. When I sell, like, trust me, I'm not fucking shy about it, okay? When I sell, I let them know up front that I'm fucking sending this email because I'm selling you. Like, the selling email that I put out, it's 100% clear that I'm selling. And I'm not shy about it. I just say, you should buy this because of blah, 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 blah. Do you understand what I mean? And then they buy it. And the reason why they buy it, because they know that I'm not bullshitting them. They know I've already built a relationship with them. I've already, I don't care if you buy from me or not, but here's why you need to buy from me. And I'm not. It's kind of like, yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. It's like when you go on a date, right? Like when you go on a date, when you meet somebody, you want to know if this person actually fucking have a second agenda versus if this person actually care, like just wants to be a friend, right? So many guys I see do this. So many guys, like, and I am one of those guys, by the way, would go up to a girl and talk to them and meet a girl and then try to be like, oh no, I just want to be your friend. They try to pretend like they just want to be a friend, right? Even though in the back of their mind they want to be more than friends, right? They want to be more than friends, but they try to put on this face, this like front, like I just want to be your friend, right? And then all of a sudden you try to make a move and she's like, what the fuck, get away from me. Like I this whole time I thought you were just a friend or something like that. Or actually what most of the time happens is it's not like that girl doesn't know. That person already knows that you have a second agenda. That person already knows that you don't just want to be friends, right? So they're gonna start kind of, like being more careful around you and kind of, step back, right? And that's what you're doing. Whenever you're putting out those content, whenever you're telling that story and you're just relating it to, oh, this is why I created this course and that what you're doing is you're basically chasing them away. That's with your second agenda. So what I would say is completely separate your relationship building from sales. Okay? When you're building relationship, just build relationship. Just help people. Just help your audience. Just come from a place of like, when I'm making content, when I'm doing all of these things, I'm just coming from a place where I want to help you. I want to like, and I know a lot of you because I've talked to a lot of you. And in my mind, like, I genuinely, all I want to do is help, right? And then when it comes to selling, I'm fucking selling. Okay? But I don't mix the two and try to like make it seem like I'm helping you, but then I'm actually selling you. I don't do that shit. Like, I genuinely want to help you. And then when I'm selling. But if you don't buy, that's fine too. Right? Okay, I think I've spent way too much time on that question. Okay. What tone level of sound shall be used when if the host is putting up something on stage? What tone level of sound shall be used when if the host is putting up something on stage? I don't know what that means, but generally I think this is what needs to happen. The thing about tone, voice, and things like that, I feel like sometimes when we think too much about that, it makes us not genuine. So, like I come on these lives and I fucking curse all the time, and I'm like, fuck, I'm just screaming at you guys. Like I'm just literally coming on here for an hour and just screaming, right? And then people DM me and say, oh, like, and then you know what people say? Like, oh, I can really tell that you genuinely care and blah, 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 right? So the thing is, even though I'm cursing and I'm swearing and I'm just screaming at you, why do people feel that I'm helping them? Why do people feel that I'm genuinely trying to help them? Right? Like, why are people coming and like thanking me and stuff like that? Right? Like, what are they coming and son? Thank you so much for yelling at me today. Is that what they're doing? No, it's because yes, I'm raising my voice. Yes, I'm being harsh. Yes, I'm being critical. But they can see that it's all coming from a good intention. They can see that I'm being that way because I genuinely want to help you. They can see that I'm not doing it in order to be malicious and to hurt you and to like make you feel bad. That's not what I'm doing. Do you understand what I mean? So because they can see that it's coming from good intention, that I'm doing it from a place where I want to help, that's why even though like it can be intimidating, people still feel that it's coming from a good place. Do you understand what I mean? But at the same time, if you come from an like malicious place. I'm gonna try to manipulate you. I'm gonna try to degrade you. I'm gonna try to put you down. Like if it's coming from a bad intention, no matter how nice you try to maybe, no matter how kind you try to sound, it's gonna sound passive aggressive. It's gonna sound like people can always sense intention. It's just like something amazing about this fucking human brain that we can sense those slight little intentions, like if they have a second agenda, if they're trying to hide something, like we're like lie detecting machines. So that's why I think, how you talk, tone of voice, and all of that, don't worry too much about that. What I would do is I would try to really really be honest with yourself. Like, if you don't really feel like helping people, if you don't really like feel like you want to do, help your audience or something like that, don't pretend. Okay. And when you do make content and things like that, just come from genuine place where you're trying to help. That's why I separate my sales from my helping. I have a clear hat on when I'm helping people and I'm just genuinely trying to, like, be of service, right? Be giving. And I have a different hat on when I'm writing my sales message and I'm trying to actually sell, right? But I'm not gonna try to pretend like when I'm not gonna try to mix the two, right? Because then that would just be disingenuous. Zareth Fernandez, hello son. What happens when your product doesn't solve a problem like art? You see, the thing is, art does solve a problem. Everything solves a problem because you can say the same thing about a Ferrari, right? Like, what problem does a Ferrari solve? Right? But people buy them. Why do you think they buy them? The problem that it solves is that if you have low self-esteem or, there's almost no product out there today which is not a luxury item, right? Our basic standard quality of life can be like, the only necessity we have is minimum amount of food, a minimum amount of water, and a minimum amount of shelter. That's all we really need, right? In order for us to survive, if you want to talk about solving a problem, right? To give you a good example, I can live in a fucking empty box and sleep there, and I can, I don't have to get work. Or maybe not an empty box, because then maybe you'll get fucking killed or something like that. But I can live in a basement studio apartment, the cheapest apartment that I can possibly find, and live in that shithole, and I'll be fine, right? That serves the same exact purpose as living in a mansion with a swimming pool and a fucking 12-car garage, right? At the end of the day, the purpose is the same. Whether I drive to work in a piece of shit Pinto, or I drive to work in a Ferrari, at the end of the day, it's serving the same exact purpose, right? The difference is, I want to drive to work in a nicer car. Why? Because it's a status thing. Like, I'm building my identity, right? Right? So if you want to just talk about functionally, yes, functionally it doesn't solve any problem. Majority of the products that we sell today, the problem that it's solving is status, right? The reason why you buy $1,000 suit rather than a $20 suit at a swap meet is because a $1,000 suit gives you more status, right? The reason why you buy a nicer car instead of a piece of shit car that can also get you to work on time is because a nicer car gives you status. It's the reason why you live in a nicer house rather than a piece of shit basement apartment is because the nicer house gives you status, right? I could live in an empty house without no art, no nothing. But the reason why I have all of that is because of status, right? So yeah, I mean, fundamentally, it doesn't solve any problem. But almost everything we buy in life, fundamentally, it doesn't solve problems. And like I saw somebody says that, oh yeah, art solves the problem of like, like it makes you feel good, blah blah blah. That's bullshit too, because it doesn't actually like it's kind of like when there's a difference between what we say it is and why we really do it. A lot of people buy art because they're like, oh, I just love this piece. I connect with this piece so much, and blah, 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 blah. Oh, that's just what you fucking say to other people. The reason why you buy it is because you want to hang it up and you want other people to see, like, oh, I'm an art collector. Oh, and this piece of art is this much, and that's why people, that's why people want more expensive art, right? It's the same thing with like, like so many people say, oh, I buy Tesla because I believe in Tesla or because of the environment or whatever the fuck it is. But the real reason why they buy Tesla is because of that. It's because of the brand. It's because they know that, oh, like I'm a cool tech bro or something like that, right? The reason why people buy an iPhone, Android has so much fucking Android phones, like some of the Samsung phones and some of these phones are so much faster, better camera, better tech, everything. And it's like half the price, but people still buy an iPhone. It's because of that fucking Apple logo. So there is a reason why people say they buy it. Oh, I love this piece art. Oh, this, I can really relate to this art. There's a reason why they say they buy it. And then there's the real reason why they buy it deep down inside. And at the end of the day, if you want to sell, like people don't buy because of virtue. They buy because of vice. But, I can talk about this forever. I just want to kind of talk about, like, there's still more questions, but before I go there, because we're almost out of time, I want to talk about a few of the things I wanted to say. So another thing that I see a lot of people do is when they tell a story, they're writing poetry. Like they're trying to like use these fancy words and trying to sound like, sound like smart and things like that. So like they might say something like this. I used to feel like a fraud. I was like always hiding behind my mask until I, found my authentic self and I let go of this huge stone and I just flew. I was able to fly like a bird or something like that, right? And when you say something like that, yes, that sounds beautiful and all of that, all of that shit. But to the listener, it's just not very relatable. So you need to be very specific. So, but if you say, instead of saying all of that like metaphoric, poetic, all of that shit, if you just say, oh, I used to hide behind the mask, but now I feel more free because I'm being more authentic. For example, when I had this client who who I tell this story, right? I had this client who was who sent me this like 70-page deck, and I didn't have time to read that deck, but I went into the meeting and this question I was asking him a question, and the client said, well, son, didn't you read the deck I sent you? And the old me who was wearing the mask be like, oh yeah, I did read it, but I just wanted to hear your thoughts, and I would make up some bullshit and try to like talk around it, right? But because I took off my mask and I was able to be more authentic, I didn't care about being judged or like anything like that. What I did was I said, no, I didn't read it because I didn't have time. It was too long. And he actually started laughing, and other people say, oh, I didn't read it either. And all like I was able to be more free and be myself. And I gave you a specific example of a specific time in my life that shows that what I'm trying to say. But if you're just talking about like some metaphoric, some fucking poetry bullshit, like yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you think people here's another thing, right? I think a lot of the reason why a lot of people do that is because they see Oprah doing it. They see Mel Robbins and these fucking like they see these gurus being all wise and shit, and like like that's like another big mistakes people make. What they do is they try to make content and they try to mimic like Oprah, Mel Robbins or Brene Brown or some guru or some life coach or some Eckhart Tolle, and they try to be fancy like them and try to give these wise advice and things like that, right? But here's the thing. Okay, try this experiment. Take one of those people's content, take Gary Vee's video, take Tony Robbins' video, right? Or take Brene Brown's video, take Eckhart Tolle's video, and post it on your feed. Take those fucking fancy words, take the most fucking fancy poetic shit out there, and post it on your feed. See if you get views. See if you get views. You're not going to get views. I see so many of this on YouTube. I go to YouTube and I see some fucking no-name channel with no followers that just repost like a video from Gary Vee, and it literally has like 60 views. And I see them post something from Brene Brown and it has like fucking 100 views, right? If what they were saying was truly the thing that was doing it, right? If what Brene Brown was saying, the way she's saying it, the way that Gary Vee is saying it, the way that these people are wording it, if that piece of content is what made it great, it doesn't matter. You should be able to post it on your feed and you should still get tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of views. The reason why it does is because the reason why those fucking messages are getting a lot of views is because Mel Robbins is saying it, and she already has millions of followers. Gary Vee already has millions of followers, and that's the reason why they're getting those views. Not because what they're saying and how they're saying is so fucking special. So don't try to copy them. Don't try to, like, if you say the same shit that they say, it's not gonna work. Trust me. Okay? Because most people are dumb. Okay? For example, the Odyssey, Odyssey is like one of the greatest books ever written, okay? But 99% of the people in the world, if they just read that, they would have no idea that the Odyssey is a fucking amazing piece of literature. The only reason why they know is because other smart people are saying that it is. Most people cannot tell the difference between great content and bad content. Do you understand what I mean? Like, that's why there's no point. Like, don't try to mimic these gurus and these like motivational speaker, and then don't try to make these videos where you're trying to like be motivational and be wise and all. Do not do that, because none of that is going to resonate with the audience. Like, and it's the reason why when you take one of those content and post it on your feed, it's still not going to work. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of these mistakes that I'm talking about are very related to each other. Like, I see a lot of people doing, things like, they try to tell a story, and they don't actually tell a story. What they do is they describe how they felt. Like, oh, like when I first started getting in my career, I felt like an imposter. I felt like a fraud, and I had such a low self-esteem, and I had this self-doubt, and over time I got better, and I just learned to be more confident. I learned to trust myself and things like that, right? That's not a story, right? That's all that is that you're just summarizing or describing your feelings. That's all that is. It's nothing actually happened in that story, right? But if you actually say, oh, at my first job, I felt like an imposter. When I went in, what I realized is that everybody there, like when I looked around the room, everybody was using a Mac and everybody was using Adobe Photoshop. I was the only one that was using a PC, and I was the only one that was using a Paint, like Microsoft Paint. And that immediately made me feel like an imposter, right? Then people are going to be like, oh shit, I can totally relate. I get what you mean, right? Like because I'm giving them a specific example of what feeling like an imposter means. But if you just say, oh, I was such an imposter, I had all this self-doubt and things like that, the only thing people are thinking is like, because of, I think most people are like, whenever I think of like people, they say self-doubt, I'm thinking of like, because you think about this, right? When you say, oh, I feel like an imposter, I have self-doubt, I have low confidence, that could mean anywhere from here. The person who has such low self-confidence that they think they're like nothing, and they think they provide zero value to the world, and they feel like they're literally a waste of space. Okay, those are the people down here. And then there's people up here who, who doesn't think that, who knows they're valuable, who knows that they're not bad and they're pretty good, but they feel like an imposter compared to other people, right? And they have self-doubt because of a new environment there. And then it can be everything in between, right? Those, when you just say low self-confidence or self-doubt, it can mean this entire spectrum. And that's why when you just say that, people are going to be like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like they don't really fully understand what you're talking about. But then when you give an example and you say, oh, because of this, when I say imposter, I mean this specific scenario. Then people are like, oh, I get it now. Okay, yeah, I've been in that situation before. I've had similar thing happen to me. So they know exactly what they're talking about. So when you tell a story, don't just summarize what your feelings was, or just don't use adjective to describe what the feeling was. Just give tell us specifically what happened, or something like that. Okay, I think I went over time limit, so I'm gonna call it a day here. Let me see if there's any other importance. Let me actually take a screenshot of this question. So what I'll do is, I feel bad for taking so long with these questions. So I'm going to take a screenshot of these questions. And then what I'll do is, I'll try to answer these stories in my Instagram stories. I'll try to answer those questions in my Instagram stories. Thank you so much for staying with me this whole time. Thank you, Setnam. Thank you, Joshua. Thank you, everyone. Okay, I'll see you all next week, and have a great rest of the week. Have a great weekend, and peace. Bye.